All right, what's up, everyone? So I wanted to go through a trade that I did yesterday, and I wanted to share it because it's very much so trading this short squeeze bear trap idea, but it was kind of a perfect example. And I get a lot of requests to do like live trading, so people can actually monitor as I'm making a trade, go through my logic and everything. But the problem with that is that the market doesn't just give me the trading conditions I want at any given time. And so, kind of this backtrack of trading is going to be the best way to do it. And this is a perfect example of how I want people to be looking at these bear trap ideas, and how to make a trade one way, identify it's wrong, and then when the market flips around on everybody, you can identify it. And so that's really what I'm showing here. And so this is trades from bottom to top. This was just yesterday. And so what this is buying Bitcoin up, actually selling it at a loss immediately upon identifying that my pattern has failed. And so this is a less than 30 minutes, so less than half an hour, and I said, this isn't working. I bought at my support level. I'm out. And then actually setting an alert so that I could figure out what the market was doing without watching it. Basically, my alert went off. I opened up the charts and I said, okay, wow, this is great. I identified a bear trap, and we're back in a higher price than I even sold that. And so again, losing a little bit more money in that, but waiting for that confirmation of a bear trap, and then riding it out for what is a little bit over 10-12% or something like that. And so that's what I want to walk through is two trade ideas. So pattern failure, and then actually trading a bear trap, which is kind of a secondary pattern failure. And so let's look at, I'm going to go right to a Bitcoin chart to kind of show what we were looking at yesterday. Let me rewind this a bit. And so this is about where things were. And so so what we're looking at on Bitcoin is this yellow larger falling channel. And as soon as this bounce had come in down here, I added this white channel to it because, this is respected, all the way back here. This touch, touches on this top one. This is, I don't usually love putting double patterns that, extend the entire length like this, but it does work in this case, and it's something that I was willing to follow. And so let me zoom back in here, and then I'm going to keep this on a either 5 or 15-minute time frame, since this is a smaller pattern. Kind of shows what I'm looking at. And so immediately upon identifying this, I said, okay, this is a falling channel. There's chances are that this white channel is going higher, and I have this larger yellow falling channel. And so as this played out a little bit, what ended up happening is, let me just get rid of this now. We'll get the answer before we go through it. And so this was right here where I had stopped it. And so what we got is this came back down to this bottom support here. So it's on support of both of these channels I was looking at. Chances are both of these should be breaking higher. And so right here is where we'd be interested. Pattern fell out, came back in, and started to run a little bit. And so I'm just going to go to the Bitcoin up chart, since that's what I traded. But just know that this is what this looks like on the Bitcoin pattern, or on the Bitcoin exchange pricing. So if we go to Bitcoin up, let me make this smaller, get this out of the way a little bit. It's okay if you can't read that anymore. So first thing to note is that I do have the pattern drawn a little bit different on Bitcoin up, and that is okay. I did that intentionally so that I was getting both of the ideas I wanted shown. And so with the other one that I have on the Bitcoin up is really just showing, where is it? Something more like that kind of a diagonal. And I didn't want it on here just because of how messy this looks. And so having it on either one gives me the ability to look at this, and it kind of makes it, an earlier take profit spot sort of a thing. And so this is really what I'm looking at. And we can see that, this is, right about where our channel would have been, was right through here. Let me make these colors line up, actually, so that this looks a lot more like our other chart. Make it a little bit more familiar. All right, so hopefully we're on the same page. We have our yellow falling channel, the white one that cuts through it. Again, I'm not drawing the top trend line on this, just the bottom, because that's the one that I'm really just interested in. I guess the Bitcoin up is slightly different, actually. There we go. That's more like what it looks like. The Bitcoin up's just not perfect from the Bitcoin exchange pricing. But so basically what we had is This red crosshair right where this intersects is exactly this first buy that I had. So 4.071, and I promise you the time is in there of the exact spot that I actually placed this purchase. And so what I actually want to do now is mark this cell. So I'm just going to go 4 even, because that's pretty much what that is. And I'm going to change the colors a little bit. I'll make it so that it matches what's on here. So green crosshairs are this buy, and now I need the red crosshairs, which is 14.21. Let's see. Right there. And I'll make that red as well. All right, so hopefully that elaborates what's going on here. And so let me make this smaller again. And again, we have to zoom in. I'm going to have to zoom in to show this, but just realize that this is what this chart is looking like at this point. And so what this is showing is the green crosshairs are, oh, I got my times messed up. This should be, sorry. Can't be perfect whenever you do it live. It's just how that works. So I want this back to 1420 is what I'm looking for. So, boom, 1420. All right, so this is what we're looking at. Green crosshairs were my buy, red crosshairs were my sell. Obviously, for a slight loss, whatever this comes out to be, a whopping, less than 2%. And so really what I was looking at is that I had this support on this yellow, support on this white channel, and I said, okay, I'm at, RSIs are already pretty low. Everything's kind of where I want it. We're stacking bullish divergences. Let me enter here. This is, all the support that I could ever want. And then a pretty immediately what we got was, a pretty big volume spike, pushing this lower. And as soon as this candle dropped down, closed all the way down here, and the next one just started to drop lower, is when I sold. So that's really what I was waiting for, is that, I bought at what I'm considering the bare minimum. This is only a wick touch here, only wicks touching here, only, not even a wick touch there, actually. And so the second a candle close is happening under that level, something's different, something's not right. And so I got that candle close. It looks like I probably contemplated it for a few minutes. It looks like the bulls and bears battled out. You see that little green candle right there is very, very small. And so they were battling it out. And I said, I don't want a piece of this. Let me hold off, reevaluate. This didn't get the curve that I was wanting it to recover from. So I dropped down and I said, you know what? I'm not in it anymore. I don't want any piece of this. And so what I did at that point is I sold. I went to my Bitcoin chart and I set this alert right here. And so what that alert is on this parallel channel. And I said, entering channel, alert me when that's happening. And I'm going to delete this now because I don't need it anymore. But I set that alert. And so what happened is as soon as this green candle came up and smacked that again, I got an alert. And so that would have been somewhere in here. And so now it's going to be important for me to, mark where my other buys and sells were. So give me a second to do that. And I'm going to get rid of the ones that are here. So you can, no, I won't. I'll leave them. All right, so we're 4.04 on a buy. And I need to make these a different color. Unfortunately, it's not going to match. No. I'll just make them a lot more bold. That's all I'll do. So 4.04 for the buy, and that was at 1739. So 1740. All right. Hopefully that works. I know there's a lot of overlapping stuff here, but the idea is present. And let's go for the sell. Just add that in while we're at it. So 4.57 is the sale price. 4.57. And we'll do the same pattern here. Make it bigger. And what time? That would have been this morning. 1732 on 6/19. 732. Just say, does that make sense? All right. Right here. Double bang. All right. So that's what we're looking at here. And so got that alert as soon as this came back into the channel, and I said, okay, that's a little bit of a bear trap. That's a short squeeze. And I actually was a little bit late. So what I meant to catch was this red candle that came down right there. Let me zoom in. So this had 2 retests. That doesn't always happen. And so really what it is green candle here is the break in. This first red is our retest. And so really what I would have wanted to buy was that. Bang, right there. I was slow to the draw. I was actually out at dinner with the family, so I opened it up and the green started to come in and I said, okay, I'm identifying this as the trap. Let's go. Let's do this. It obviously had another point of entry, which is also fine. So it had another retest that happened there. And if we actually follow it, in time, this is one of the parts of just kind of like being confident in your setups and playing it out, is that, it obviously rode this channel down quite a bit more. Took a bit of time for that to actually kind of, take its effect. And so that's essentially what it was. Woke up this morning. When I woke up this morning, this was right at this top trend line that I had drawn, and I said, okay, well, you know what? Let me just sell out of this. I'm done with it. And so really what this comes to is, identifying this pattern failure that ended up being, like I said, was it 1.5% drawdown, and then flipping it around, actually buying at a higher price than I sold again, because it's, we're just trading off our patterns, and flipping that then for 13. And so, net positive in the end by a good 12%. And again, this is just Bitcoin up. It's not the craziest thing in the world. But I just wanted to show that this is exactly what we're looking for. And so what I did here is entered saying, all the percentages should be pushing us back up at the top. Entered, that didn't work out. It's a really bad sign typically. And so close that position and then just waiting for it to negate. And this is why, let me take this back to the major Bitcoin charts and kind of show exactly what this setup would look like from here. And so really what we're watching is this, this large blue channel here. And so really all that would look like, sorry about all the clutter, I did not think I was going to show this chart for this, but I will. And so really what that looks like is that this entire break below here, like this blue line, is what we just did right here. That's what we were just trading, was this overnight. And so it just changes the scales a little bit. And so if this comes back up and it gets back in here, that's our entry. And so one of the important things of that is, a lot of people are asking, what are the price targets? Where do we think Bitcoin's going? And it's like, I don't care. Every time it loses a level, my target actually goes down. I wasn't looking for this to be a bear trap, but the second it dropped down, okay, well now I know if we get back in this pattern, I'm interested. And it's just the larger the pattern you go to, the more impactful those will be. In essence, that I opened that trade for, less than 12 hours, just saying there's a good chance this will ride up a little bit. But if this 4-hour pattern breaks back in, I'm going to hold this one for a bit longer. And again, it's going to equate to a bigger move because I'm expecting it to, at least fill the majority of this pattern. And so that's really the thing. And this is true for everything. We can even zoom out super far and we see that we have this, weekly level that's over here. If our weekly candle breaks down and closes down here, well then my new bear trap short squeeze idea is going to be regaining this. It's no longer this spot, it's here now. So the further it goes down, it just changes those targets. They're just actively rolling targets. And as long as Bitcoin goes down, I'll adjust those targets. It's not about, always knowing the right move ahead of time. It's just about being able to identify when something is regained. That's really the goal the entire time. And so again, I will leave this up just to have this kind of close out here. Again, identifying pattern failure, waiting for it to regain, opening up on that regain. And again, this is one of those things of like identifying this as a bear trap and then just letting it take its turn until we fall out of pattern again. And so I didn't exit until we fell out of pattern again. This one, truthfully, this is just I was asleep. This was one of those things that it was just going to ride out.